We're going to get set up to do the engraving on the bat, and when you open up the file that I sent you in Mastercam, you'll have something that looks like this. So unless you want Addison rocks on your bat, you're going to have to change the text and repost it. So to do that, first of all, I want to get rid of all these irritating lines, so you just press Alt and T at the same time, and that will get rid of those. And I'm going to right click and select top. I'm just going to kind of zoom in. If your Z should already be set to 980 right here. If not, you can right click on it and change it to 980, or actually left click, change it to 980. Has to be at 980 because that is where, for the rotary to work properly, it needs to be right against the side. So that's from here to here is 980, which is half the bat. So let's go back to top. And I'm going to, since I've got everything yellow, I'm going to right click and come up here to clear colors, and that'll put everything back. So I want to delete my name and put your name on there. So I'm going to left click and hold, and that'll left click one more time, and that will kind of turn everything into a tiger stripe. And then just on your computer, press the delete button, and it'll say, give you this warning because it's part of a toolpath. I'm going to go ahead and say yes, delete all selected entities. So that erased my name. So what you'll notice that what it did do is it made this operation what they call a dirty operation. So we won't worry about that right now. Again, make sure you're down here that you're on Z.980, not minus, plus. And we'll come up here to wireframe and left click on wireframe, and we'll left click on select create letters. Alright, so you can write whatever you want on there. Let's just say Chris Rocks. We can put an exclamation point there. Alright, so it's giving me a preview here. It looks a little bit big, so I'm going to come down here and change this to like 0.5. And if we changed it to a little bit different size, but I want to move it in the middle of the bat. So let me grab it. Let's see how I do that. Base point, reselect. So if you click on this reselect base point, it'll let you kind of move it around. So it still looks a little big. So at this point I can change my my height. 0.4, let's see how that looks. Where'd it go? Reselect base point. And see, notice how we can kind of preview it now. I can even try a different font up here. Maybe you want Old English because it's like, kind of looks like AC/DC or something. Some fonts aren't available for certain things. You can try just all kinds of fancy things here, but keep in mind you don't want your letters going over into the round part here because it won't track. So it's got to fit between these two lines basically. So you can alter that by either changing the font, or you can change, see how that's even longer. So you just play with it. You want to take as much of this surface as possible, so I'm going to try to change the height again, 0.5, And since it lost me, I'm going to click that reselect button again. And whoop. And reselect base point. And that looks like it'll fit in there pretty good. I'm just going to eyeball it and boom, right there. Okay, so once you got it where you like it, go ahead and select the green checkbox, and then if you hold on to your mouse wheel, you can see it's still right. It's right on the edge of the part there. Okay, so right click for top, and we're still at Z.980 here. That's ever important, your Z depth. All right, so we got to regenerate this tool path. So you come over to geometry, see where it says 0 chains. We're going to change that. So you're going to left click on geometry, come up in the box here and right click and rechain all. And so your chaining dialog box pops up. So you want to come over here and select window. Left click on window and just carefully select a window and then left click and see how it says sketch approximate start point. Well, I'm going to zoom in big here, and you just want to click a point and then see how it lights it up, and green check mark, and look at all that. So all I have to do now is say, yeah, that looks good. It looks like it didn't do the C though. Wonder why. So notice we still have the red X there. That means the operation is still dirty. So we'll come up here to regenerate, and it regenerates. So to make sure it's cutting this right, we need to come back down here to levels. See this? And we're going to turn the turn profile on. We're going to turn the Lil'Slugger bat off, and we're going to select level number 2. So we'll go back to tool paths and come up here to your verify back plot. I'm sorry, it's back plot. And if you click on your mouse wheel, you'll see the toolpath. And what this is doing is it's engraving your name on the bat. It actually works very well. Now, let's just kind of look at the parameters and what's going on here. If you, if you just click on the parameters button right there, this will come up, and you can click on tool. It's going to go ahead and call out your tool number right here. So if you have a different tool number, you'll either have to change it here or change it when you post it. But what makes this work is your rotary axis control. So we're using axis substitution, even though you would think it was C-axis, but it's not, because the C-axis is substituting for Y. And notice how I put this rotary diameter in here. That's important. Some of the students had to do unroll to get it to not write backwards for some reason. So you might just kind of, you might do it on, move your tool offset back and make sure it's doing it right before you make it a permanent part of your bat. Now, one thing that's great about doing the bat end first is if something goes wrong, you can turn around and make the bat end the other side and make the handle end the bat side. In other words, that can all be cut away and you can start over. So the last thing you have to do is you have to turn this into G-code, okay? So to do that, we're going to come up to this G1 button right here. and it says post selected operations. Just make sure this file is checked. And I'm just going to click G1. Okay, notice it does not have a post selected here. I'm going to send you the shared MCAM 2017. It might be fixed at the school, but it's not on my computer, so I tried to fix it and it didn't work. So I'm just going to go ahead and select the post and agree that yes, I might be doing something wrong. And I also noticed that none of the I'm looking for a Haas 4-axis lathe, and it's not in any of that. So you would have it on your local disk, but I'm going to come over here where I know it is. I'm going to open this up where I've got it stashed. So we're going to shared MCAM 2017. It's the older version. For some reason, when they came out with the new 2018, it just did not come with. So we're going to select lathes. It's like having a virtual machine shop. Open this up, and then right here's your posts. Left click or right click open, or some people double click. I don't like doing that. But here's your generic Haas slant 4-axis MT lathe. So we're going to left click and then right click and say select. Let's go pop that post processor in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push overwrite. And the reason I push overwrite is because it'll let me preview the post before I save it to my flash drive. So then I'm going to come down here and select OK. And it always prompts not all operations have been selected. Post all? No. We don't want to post all these other operations. Just post the one. And then it'll create your NC code for you. Voila. So this is what you want to see. You want to see Z-axis movement and C-axis movement. And notice this is a pretty big file. See that? With those Haas machines, I've found that sometimes with bigger files, they will sometimes have mistakes in them. So I'm going to come up here and press insert block numbers. And what that'll do is if there's a problem in your program, you can find it a lot easier, because the problem is not usually going to be in your Mastercam file. It's just going to be in the data transfer. One problem with that is it goes ahead and puts line numbers in front of the percentage marks, and the machine tool will not like that. So we'll get rid of that. One thing about Mastercam 2 is that at every 10,000 lines it repeats. So it starts back over at 1. Like the 5-axis post or program I've been working on has like 70,000 lines, so it makes it hard to find mistakes. But you have to get rid of these little line numbers before the program. And then here also I would put the name of the program on the same line as the number of the program, and also here you can change the program number to something that 66778 or something. Now at this point I would just go ahead and left click on File, Save As, and then you can come down to your local disk, would be your flash drive, hit save, and that will save the program to your flash drive. You can put it into the Haas machine, and then at that point you're ready to run. Notice your Z movements. You're starting at minus 3.570, and they get smaller. The Z's are in red. So that tells you it's going to start from the furthest letter, just like it did in the verify, or the Can't think of the word. Backplot. So anyway, that's how you do it. That's how you get your name engraved on there. I'm going to send you these files, and let me know if you have any questions.